I'm also doing the adjusting the valves. And another thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the head studs. So Jan recommended this as a plus since we're running them so hard. We're not like the normal car where you're driving at 25% power all the time most of the time. So what will happen is each stud will come out one at a time, and we'll be putting in this ARP bolt and stud kit. There's your number if you want to do it on yours. So it's for the 1.5 liter. There's your number. So we're doing that, water pump, just a bunch of little stuff for the conditional inspection. So it's going to be a longer conditional inspection than normal, but at the end of the day, we'll be in good shape and ready to go for another couple hundred hours. Honda studs to the ARP studs. So I've got everything set up here. It looks like everything's fairly straightforward. I'm going to do this in torque order. So we'll come up here. We're going to start off this guy first. It's a 12 millimeter. We'll take him out and we'll go from there. We'll see how everything goes. We'll make sure we don't drop anything down in any of the passageways. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble. So everything's taken off. I went ahead. I don't think you have to take it off on this one, except for probably that last back bolt. But I have taken off the high pressure pump. So the high pressure pumps come off. Remove the fuel lines, pull the pump off first, and then move the housing off. So that's off, and we're ready to start. So hopefully this is going to go good. Hopefully this is recording. I'm going to do this with my helmet cam, and hopefully we can see. Alright, so first is the first bolt. I'm doing this in order because I'm not quite so sure, 100% sure that the torque is going to back is the same. We're going to 50 foot-pounds, but the original Honda specs call out going to 22 foot-pounds and then doing a 160 degree torque. So you'd torque it to 22 and then you'd rotate it another 160 degrees to the final specification. Alright, so I'm taking out one head stud at a time. So I got my breaker bar here. It takes a bit. They're in there. So it's in there tight. It's scary. So it finally comes loose at about 180 degrees past. And we'll come out with this bolt. It's got a lot of threads on it. So like I say, the good thing is that washer is not going to fall off. Remove a stud. Alright, stud comes out. Take out our old stud, grab a new one. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put some ARP grease on it. Get a good mount. Both ends. Okay. We've got our Allen, comes on with an Allen key. Drop that in. These are supposed to be hand tight as you thread these in. So I'm kind of like under the opinion hand tight can be multiple things. So I like using just a small ratchet, just so that you don't over tighten it. These go in quite a ways before they even start to seat out. I like going slow and just filling it. I rather fill it than have a ratchet driver go in. So I'm just gonna, get it to the bottom of the threads and stop. Okay, so they're at the bottom of the threads. Now we've got a washer to put on. I want a little bit of grease on that washer so it floats around. And get my screwdriver, put my screwdriver on it, on the Allen key head. And drop that in place. Now I'll grab a nut. Just a little bit of ARP on it, grease on it. I just don't want it locking up. This one goes on with the 13 millimeter. The other one came off with the 12 millimeter socket. Stick that down in there without dropping the nut. You don't want the nut to go down in the oil recovery. I think it's small enough that, or the ports are small enough that it won't go, but they make a bad day. All right, so that's on there. Now, bottomed out. You see that we're bottomed out. Now I'm going to do similar to what I'm going to do 22 foot-pounds and just see how that feels. And then see if then I'll set it to 50 and I'll see how many degrees I get. There's 22. And we'll set it at 50. It's kind of lets you just step it up anyway. There's 50. Alright, so if I was going to do (160 degrees, that would be that'd be about pulling it straight around down. So let's I don't like coming over any further, but I'm almost at the 50 foot-pounds. I can tell. Yep. So really I was at it maybe 180 degrees. So this is probably putting just a slight more bit of torque than what Honda originally had. There it is. All right, that one's torqued. I'm not going to do the 22 foot-pounds again. I'm just going to keep taking it out. Golly. Like I say, I hate doing this. It just feels so stressful on these little tiny threads. There we go. Good breaker bar helps. Now, I'm not sure if the washers on the 195, the 175, and the 150s, if they're on there captured by the thread or not. So as you're taking that off, be careful if it's on a different engine. Like I said in some of the air videos that may not have caught, I've taken the valve covers off, which that's normal. The thing that's different is this front pump cover. So this is your high pressure cam that drives it here. This is your high pressure line. This is your feed line. This bolt and this bolt would be very, you could get to it with a angle socket head, but the problem is you're not going to be able to torque it properly. You're not going to be able to, you know, I wouldn't ever go through something like that on a cylinder head to make it just to save a little bit. So this was a little bit of a chore taking this off. It's not, it's not bad. You take the pump off first. Inside that pump, the pump comes off fairly easy. It's just 2 bolts that hold it on. There is a flat plate cover on here, and that's held in place with Honda Bond, the silicon glue, like Permatex, but it's the Honda Bond. I kind of like it better. I suggest going ahead and buying it. You can get it on Amazon. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon, and it's not any more expensive than Permatex. So, you know, might as well just get it. It's a little bit more flexible. But anyway, there's a flat metal plate that goes across the front of this that you have to slightly pry off as you're coming off with the whole case. There's also a piston that is keyed and rides up and down on this, and it's very important to get that cup and piston out, and I'll show pictures of it later. It's also in Jan's video. It's very similar. This is a little bit different on mine than the 195, but still is just as easy. All right, so we've taken our bolt out, and it's just a matter of grab a new one, get your ARP anti-seize on there. I'll go ahead and do both ends on the stud, just so I don't forget. I like working it into the threads. Grab my See, these are, you know, basically the bad thing is your threads, when you bottom out, you're probably bottoming out, you're actually bottoming out into the end of the tap. So you don't want to drive that in, because you're just starting to tap that screw, and you don't want it to, you definitely don't want to start galling the tip of your thread. So like I say, it just goes in tight. Get some grease on your washers and on your bolts. It's funny, after you thread that down in there, you can hear air pressure blowing past the thread. So that one dropped off. Luckily, I've got a little bit of magnetic tip on the screwdriver. There it goes. Alright, so after this one, I'm going to stop it. You kind of got the gist. We'll record some other stuff later. We'll go ahead and torque that again to 50 foot-pounds. We'll do that first. Yeah. Brace your shaft properly. There it jumps. I don't know why it does that. Each time it's like I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if the threads are going in deeper or what. But it's every single one of them has tightened and then jumped. Loosened up before it finally tightens up. I like doing it 2 clicks. All right. So there is done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe, is straight down. Yeah, so now we'll go down to this one. So let me get that. I'm stopping the recording.